Welcome to a brand new year and Curbside Chat number 12, the first of 1989. I'd like to take a minute to reiterate the mission of the Curbside Chat. We've not done that since we mailed the first one over a year and a half ago in June of '87. We said then that because our business was so dynamic, we all need the opportunity to get together every 4 to 6 weeks and discuss the things that are going on at Buick. We said we'd look at both product and non-product plans and ideas. And finally, we said we'd attempt to open up a forum of communication, which we hoped would become two-way. And based on your cards, it certainly has. Each tape was to contain 3 elements. The first was to headline current events at Buick. The second, to provide a more in-depth view of at least one activity or subject of interest to all of us. And the final part was to entertain your questions. I think we've stayed pretty much on track with what you've asked us to provide. But be sure to let us have your suggestions for improvements. I'd like to remind all of you of the quarterly marketing meetings that take place in each zone area. Your direct input, your concerns, and your questions can be voiced best there. If you don't have a schedule of your local zone's meetings, call your zone or branch manager, and they'll be happy to send out one. Let's talk sales. December finished stronger than we had expected, and we appreciate your extra effort. The final 10-day period of December was the best 10 days in 9 months, and was the best final December 10-day period we've had in 11 years. Overall, our calendar year sales finished up 4.3%, while model year sales are up 12.1%, which means our sales momentum is building. Before the end of January, you should see this dealergram from Bob Coletta announcing the Regal as the best-selling mid-size coupe in the industry for 1988. This is a great achievement for all of us and demonstrates that we can successfully launch a new car and that our new product philosophies and our design themes have broad customer appeal. Being the best-selling mid-size coupe in addition to the other Regal victories last year will let you and us promote and advertise this car like never before. You've already seen these ads in Wall Street Journal, USA Today, Time, US News, Newsweek, and Sports Illustrated during the month of January. Be proud of your accomplishment and use the best-selling mid-size coupe theme in your ads and your promotions throughout the whole year. Remember, success breeds success. Although we finished December quite strongly, our first 2 10-day periods of January were not as good as we expected. I realize that we probably pulled some business ahead into December, and our fleet business is less than last year. But we've got to continue to focus on stealing other manufacturers' business and building our market share. Buick's market share through the end of '88 was as follows. The final 10 days of '88, 6%. In the final 10 days of '87, 5.2%, which is a difference of a plus 0.8%. The month of December of '88 was 5.5% versus the month of December in '87 of 5.8. There's a difference of minus 0.3%. Calendar year to date for '88 was 5.5, and for '87, 5.5, so we're even there. But the model year to date for '88 is up to 5.6% versus 5.3 for last year, so a difference of 0.3% to our good. Improving our market share remains the name of the game. Now for an update on the Regal versus the T-Bird. Previously, we've discussed our opportunities against the new Thunderbird and Cougar. You were all recently mailed a letter from our sales promotion manager, Ron Fusel, highlighting some of our significant advantages versus both of those new cars. Let's take a quick look at see what some of these are. The Regal has front-wheel drive and its improved traction characteristics, while Thunderbird and Cougar are still rear-wheel drive. The Regal has better weight-to-horsepower ratio for improved performance, and the Regal gets better city and highway gas mileage. Our Regal has standard front and rear disc brakes, while the Thunderbird and Cougar only have front disc brakes standard. Regal seats 6 adults while the Thunderbird and Cougar seats only 5 passengers, a real advantage with some customers. We have a larger trunk. We also have standard clear coat paint, while Ford charges extra for this. The Regal offers Buick's exclusive Dynaride suspension as standard equipment, and it's not available on the T-Bird or Cougar. And Regal has tilt steering column as standard equipment. Regal currently has a lower base price in both the Thunderbird and Cougar. The Regal Custom is under the Mercury Cougar LS by $1,295, and it's under the Ford T-Bird by $501. The Regal Limited is under the Cougar LS $505 and under the Ford T-Bird LX by $1,076. In addition to these advantages, the Cougar offers only 3 option packages, and both T-Bird models, the Base and LX, provide only 1 package. In this case, we can bracket the Regal both below and above each of their cars with our Custom and Limited models and the 3 option packages. And in addition, we have our Grand Sport. Use this, as well as the soon-to-be-released competitive manual update, to steal T-Bird and Cougar prospects. And don't let their selection as Motor Trend Car of the Year hold you back. As we read, they're having trouble keeping crankshafts in one piece in their car, while our Regal was the #1 seller. You know, being Car of the Year doesn't guarantee success. Does anyone remember that the AMC Alliance won the award? The final results of the Riviera direct mail coupon are in. Let's take a quick look. 1,598 Rivieras were sold from the program. 5,022 other Buicks sold to test drive recipients, 87 of which were to Riata. 83,980 test drives were generated with a 16.8% response rate. Now, we've sent each of you a summary of your Riviera sold orders and asked that you complete it as noted so we can verify the total program success and make sure that the right customers are paid just as soon as possible. We'd like that form back by early February. We now have what we call the early buyer information on the Riviera, and I think you'll be pleased and somewhat surprised by the results. As you'd expect, 62% of the Riviera business came from previous Buick owners, but we conquested some others. 9% of the buyers came from Oldsmobile, and 6% each from Cadillac and Chevrolet. The good news is that we've got 5% of Acuras traded in the Riviera and 4% from Lincoln. Good conquest business. In addition, 8% other customers came from conquest sales. Now, looking within Buick, what trade-ins were made on the Riviera, as you'd expect, 47%, the largest single group, came from people owning previous Rivieras. 40% came from the Electra and the Park Avenue series, and 5 each from LeSabre and Regal. All of our other car lines total 3%. Now for customer satisfaction. I'd like to begin by looking at our latest CSI results and then get into a subject I believe together we can have a major impact on and improve our owner satisfaction. Congratulations to everyone in the organization. The latest CSI ranked Buick highest in GM in overall product satisfaction at 89, overall satisfaction tied with Cadillac at 89, and finally overall dealership satisfaction tied with Cadillac also at 89. Our 12-month dealership satisfaction continues at 88, and our 3-month index at 89. That's a great job. But one area we need to improve is our level of service comebacks. Right now, 44% of our customers report that they have to come back a second or more times to have warranty work completed. Now, we're not the worst in the corporation for comebacks, but on the other hand, we're not the best either. When you separate comebacks into categories, as voiced by the customer, they look like this. The repair didn't fix the problem. The parts weren't in stock. The service department was too busy, other reasons, or they just didn't know. The 1 to 2 reasons, 80% of the reasons customers give for coming back. And in categories 3 to 5, 20% of the reasons customers give for coming back. While each of us plays a part in fixing both groups, the latter, or 20% group that you have the most control over, mostly because many of the sources of dissatisfaction are the customer's perception of how they were handled and if their problem was fixed correctly. I'm asking you to look at these categories. Listen to what the customer is really saying and how he or she feels. Then look at your service scheduling, including service stall utilization and parts availability. We'll continue our analysis to find the best product fixes where needed, and we'll provide assistance in the form of TAC and CAC and customer satisfaction processes. If you need help in getting refocused with a process, ask your zone or branch manager for help. Overall, you're making good progress in customer satisfaction, and that one factor more than any single other will assure your success in both sales and service. Keep up the good work. As we mentioned at the announcement meeting, the Skylark LE and Park Avenue Ultra would be announced in time for the spring selling season, and I'm happy to report that we will meet that commitment. In fact, our acceleration plan calls for the bulk of production of both cars to be completed by April. By now, many of you have even begun receiving a few. To help in your selling efforts, I'd like to share with you the clinic results recently received from prospective customers on both cars. First, the Skylark LE. The LE is perceived to be more expensive than it actually is, and not by just a little. The LE price was estimated at $14,071, over $1,000 more than a two-tone custom with the SB package lists. Based on these findings, we are recommending you order mostly custom models with packages SB, SC, and SD. While LE prospects indicated that the 3300 V6 was consistent with the image of the car, a balance of both the 3300 and the 2.5-liter engine should be ordered to adequately cover the whole price spectrum. Demographics were mostly women over 45 years of age, with almost half having a college degree and an income of over $35,000. The preferred advertising slogan chosen was the kind of luxury car you would expect from Buick. The Ultra, on the other hand, appeals to those wanting something extra, a natural step up from the Park Avenue. The Ultra's strengths, as perceived by Ultra Clinic prospects, include its attractive and luxurious interior, a trendsetter for future vehicles, and a vehicle many indicated that they'd be extremely proud to own. The best descriptor given was best in class. Now, promotional materials are forthcoming. Expect them in early February. Take full advantage of both these new vehicles. Use them to help draw more showroom traffic and to focus attention on the rest of our great lineup. Place your orders now. I'd like to address an issue that a few of you have raised with Bob Coletta, a member of our field organization, or me, and that is, will Buick get a truck or a van like Oldsmobile? Well, let me begin by being frank and definitive. No, we won't be entering the truck market, and I'd like to explain. During the next 5 years, Buick's capital spending on new products will approximately double compared to the last 5 years. These new products will be the first to reap the benefits of our voice of the customer research. So not only is the total spending much higher, but the products starting with the Regal are much more focused on our strengths and are what our future customers expect from Buick. They aren't the look-alike GM products that gave us difficulty in the past. And many are exclusive to Buick, not shared with any other division. In our constant analysis of market trends and shifts, we did evaluate the potential for a Buick truck and van. The analysis showed clearly that, one, our customers don't expect a truck or a van from us. it wouldn't be a believable Buick product. And two, having a truck or van would severely dilute our focus of designing and marketing premium American motor cars. Offering a truck would be inconsistent with our current and future direction and would have unfavorable long-term effects on both the image and the value of the Buick franchise. The decision by Oldsmobile to offer a truck and van probably was a good one for them. They are gradually moving their product line in a different direction from ours and have lost more of their direct buyers to the truck market than we have. And lastly, there's no such thing as a free lunch. Our capital resources are committed to upcoming products that are unique, exciting, and have unprecedented reception by our future customers, as shown in our research clinics. There's just no question that these products will be successful. So to take the GM van and rebadge it as a Buick would mean that we'd have to give up one or more of our forthcoming truly unique products. Now, for security reasons, I can't show you these future products just yet. But if I could, I have confidence that you'd agree that we should get them in your showrooms just as soon as possible and not slow down or trade them in for a truck. Keep the faith. Now I'd like to answer some of your questions. This one is from Julian Fox of Many, Louisiana. He asks when the Grand Sport package will be available in numbers to satisfy demand. Well, right at the beginning of '88 production, we did have the Grand Sport, the Regal Grand Sport, on restriction because of parts. However, we have them in the production now. Julian, the one you ordered on the 17th was preferenced on the 18th and scheduled on the 20th to be built the week of February 6th. So we'll get that one out to you. Thanks for asking. Here are two that are related. First one from Bob Kelly, Pennsylvania, in his usual green ink. Dear Ed, we certainly enjoy your chats as well. I thank you personally for making leather an option on the Electra wagons. Although a modest program, I have two friends who are again driving Buick wagons after switching to Ford or Mercury. Even little programs are very important to regaining sales. Thank you. I'll have to say there, that was getting leather in the wagon was as a result of a direct input from one of your Curbside Chat cards. This one's from Doug Blake of Cincinnati, Ohio. He said, the Century has nice improvements, the 3300 engine, great engine, and thanks for leather in the full-size wagons. Looks great. He also mentions that the Regal rear seat is not comfortable, needs a major redesign. We'll take a look at that one. Good input. Thank you. Here are two that related. This one's from Mr. Hopkins of Saginaw, Michigan. He said, I like the RIV program, driving by. Let's have lots more. And Bob Foreman of Cleveland, Texas, says, Dear Ed, enjoy your professional service-oriented answers. Your December tape had negative questions regarding Riviera launch. He said, we sold 2 Rivs. They stayed in stock less than 24 hours each. I suggest all Buick dealers realize we've got a hot car. Don't complain about a car so beautiful, it sells so well, it doesn't stay in stock. When you've got it, flaunt it. We agree. This one's from Pete Moon of Saginaw, Michigan. Mr. Mertz, thanks for the extra money in '88 on the Regal, Riviera, Park, etc. Sales and test drives. It's been appreciated. This shows me Buick knows which side their bread's buttered on. Keep it up. I'm sure increased sales are responsible to this. Thanks, Pete. This one from State Line Chevy and Buick in Millertown, New York. Millerton. When will you bring back the vinyl top on the Buick Century? Well, as you know, the Buick roof line was redesigned in 1989. We looked at vinyl tops on both the coupe and the sedan, and neither looked very good. That particular top design just does not lend itself well to vinyl tops. So we elected not to spend our money on those and put the resources on other products that we feel are right along the Buick line. Here's one from Dan Dornseif of Community Buick in Kingston, Pennsylvania. Mr. Mertz, why is the Grand Sport Regal doesn't say Grand Sport on the side of the car like the auto magazines show. Well, this was a running change in 1989. If you do have a customer that would like to update that, you'd like to do it for them, the parts are available from a Service Parts Organization. Here's one from Pat Callahan of Lakewood, New Jersey. When can we anticipate the Riata convertible? Well, the convertible was delayed a bit in order to get the engineering right on the car, make the top easy to fold and the structure right in the car. We hope to be building them sometime later this year, but probably be sold starting sometime in early next year. From Chris Albertson, looks like Media, Pennsylvania. He'd like better and more organized planning in the introduction of the Park Avenue Ultra. Too many prospects walked in the showroom disappointed that the car was not out yet. Since then, their previous Park Avenue customers went to Lincoln Mercury. Well, we're certainly sorry to hear that. However, we have not started advertising the car. Since it was a mid-year introduction, we did put it in the catalog to make sure it would be there when the car was delivered. But we're going to be starting advertising on that car in April. So by that time, many of you should have Ultras in stock. This is from Arnie Jett of Elbridge, New York. He said, why were businesses excluded from the Riviera mailing list? After all, it's usually an individual who buys the car regardless of registration. Well, that program, we were going after loyal Riviera and loyal Buick owners, and that's what it was directed at more specifically. However, wherever we could show that a person in a business was actually a owner and had bought them previously, we did provide the coupons to those people. So if you have those in the future, let us know on an individual basis, and we'll certainly respond. Here's from Dave Jacobs of Don Jacobs Buick in Washita, Wisconsin. He said, I feel it would be helpful to have a 5-speed manual transmission in a Skylark. We still have the sport package in this car, and to have a 5-speed with a 4-cylinder in the 3.3 would be a good selling advantage. We've looked at offering manual transmissions there a number of times. However, when we do, we sell very few of them, and the costs and the drain our resources to engineer something that sells in very low numbers, and in many cases does not fit well what Buick stands for, is just wasted effort. I'm sure there's a market there, but is it our market, and is it really good for us is the question, and so far we've elected not to do that. This is from Jerry Brooks of Lenoir, North Carolina. He said, good work on 89 Riviera. Why, when you cut the ignition off or open the door with the radio in the cassette tape mode, the cassette tape must be reset each time you restart the car? Very irritating. The reason that was done was to move the tape off of the recording heads so that you didn't get magnetic buildup. However, it's being revised in the RIV in 1990. The cassette will stay in place and the heads will retract within the unit, so you get the same effect without having the cassette pop out. I agree with you. I'd rather have it the way it's going to be as well. Here's one from Wayne Goodrich of Cincinnati, Ohio. He said, Regals are great. How about improving the readability of the fuel gauge in the odometer? Many customers find these gauges very tough to read. We agree. There has been a change made recently in production to slightly improve the fuel gauge, and we've redesigned it completely for 1991. So we got a little ways to go until we get that new gauge in, but it's coming. This is from Julian Fox, Miami, Many, Louisiana. Can something be done to make the LeSabre more distinctive in appearance? The car has the blahs. Well, it may have the blahs, but it's grown steadily since 1980 on a continual upward movement. The LeSabre appeals to our most conservative buyers, and therefore it is a conservatively styled car. And we feel we need to continue with that. Some of our other products will be styled more with more excitement in them for different audiences. This is to attract a wider range of people to your showrooms. We do have an update coming on the car. we hope to, on our volume cars, every couple or 3 years, have a styling revision so that we can keep growth and you can get your repeat customers back in your showroom. Here's from Albert, looks like Melissaw. He says, if 68% of my Buick sales are directly to women, why does Buick continue to offer the lighted vanity mirror as an option only on the passenger side in Century and Regal? Well, we did have it offered in 85, 86, and 87 in some of our cars, but we sold less than 10%. But it's good input. We'll take a look at that again and see if we can't offer that. Here's John Main of Bethesda, Maryland. Is there any chance of making the Riviera and Riata with analog gauges? Several potential customers have not bought because of all the electronics. And also from Rainier Kotolinsky of Compton, California. Are there any plans to make the GCC an option in the Riviera? Older customers who love the car but aren't computer-wise shy away from the car. Yes, next year the car will have analog gauges and more conventional instrumentation. This is on the Riviera. We probably will not make the GCC an option. It would have to be completely redesigned to fit in the new instrument panels that are coming, and we expect as an option it will sell so few we just could not make a good business case to do that. Our last question comes from Dan Rash of Elbridge, New York. He said, hi Ed, curbside chats are great. Gives everyone a chance to informally talk to the boss and say things good or bad. Your keyless entry spot was interesting. He's referring to last month's keyless entry question on the chat. How about selling it as a no-freeze door lock? In many parts of the country, snow and freezing rain or washing a car in cold weather causes door locks to freeze. The keyless entry prevents the problem of unlocking cars in cold and wet weather. That's a great idea. I wish I'd have thought of that. It's another advantage of the system that we have this year. It also shows that how input from you on these curbside chat cards is used to help market and sell cars. And we really appreciate that. Keep your questions and comments coming, and have a good month.
The great American road belongs to you.